Welcome to this talk about IT for World Ranking events. What should Event Advisor know about basic event IT? The agenda will be that we're going to talk about how the Event Advisor can be relevant, the ambition level, rules, IT checklist for Event Advisors, mitigation principles, and something about supporting documentation. My name is Henning Spjelkavik. I'm a software engineer. I'm currently the chair of the IT Commission, and I have experience as an active timekeeper. I've been IT advisor to many high-level events since about 2004 and senior event advisor at the World Championships in Vuokatti in 2013 in Finland. So it's important to remember that the event advisor's role is not to be the IT expert. The event advisor shall ensure that rules are followed, mistakes are avoided, and that fairness is paramount. And from a timekeeping and IT perspective, it means that we need to ensure fair results in a timely manner without mistakes. First of all, we need to align the ambition level of the event between the event advisor, the organizer, and federation, sponsors, and stakeholders, because a mismatch here can destroy the competition. As an example, imagine that the mayor and the main sponsor thinks that this event is going on TV and is almost a World Cup. Wow, world ranking, that sounds impressive. On the other hand, the event director has almost zero budget and wants a traditional race hidden in the forest. Whereas the event advisor thinks that the organizer should hire timekeepers and GPS tracking. Without aligning or at least agreeing on what are the ambition level, we are prone to have lots of misunderstandings and friction. So with the ambition level set, let's go to the IT area's main objectives. And it is fair competition for athletes. We need accurate time taking, reliable punching systems, and in the end, correct results. Through this reference model, we describe areas that typically are under the responsibility of a director of IT, technical director, or similar roles in bigger events. However, for a world ranking event, let's narrow down a little to punching, event pre-processing, event administration, and connections to IOF Eventer. So, are there any peculiarities of your event? Is it mass start, chase start, qualification and finals, map exchanges, elaborate forkings? Are there any relevant special rules? So check the competition rules. What applies to this event? And then we can look at the rules. There are some tasks of the event advisor with concern to IT and timekeeping. And Rule 31.8 lists the tasks, and we can see that to assess the reliability and accuracy of the timekeeping and results producing systems, and to check any course splitting method and course combinations. Of course, you need to connect these, the course splitting method, course combinations from however it is done and get it right into the IT system. But this is not the complete list of rules or tasks listed in the rules that is relevant. So let's look at some others. 12.2, the starting order must be approved by the IOF event advisor. And the start draw might be public or private and may be made by hand or by a computer. So first of all, you need to agree with the timekeeper or the person doing this how this approval will be done. I usually do this through email in a normal VRE. As a timekeeper, I produce a candidate, a proposed start list, and send it typically to the event director and the event advisor for approval. But you want to avoid unnecessary iteration, so know the rules and agree on the parameters in advance. Also, I must admit, I think I never have seen a public start draw. It works for the football world championships, but probably not for most orienteering events. There are also rules that require preparations. This one is from FootO, but it is a quite good example. So 12.14 in the skill rules says that competitors start according to the IOF World Ranking List. The organizer should use a list published no more than 1 week before the event, which means that someone must download the IOF World Ranking List at a point, take that snapshot, and use it. We also find this in the FootO rules in the appendix around regional championships. The world ranking list used must be the one published 10 days before the first race. So put it in the timeline to access the world ranking list at this point and download it. Some rules must also be planned for. So 20.1, only IOF approved electronic punching systems may be used. And 20.2, competitors must have the possibility to practice with this electronic punching system at the model event. So if you have an event where you expect lots of people coming from other areas that are typically not used to the system you are going to use, you should have a technical model event where people can practice it. And that's in the World Orienteering Championship. We usually have, or we should have, a technical model event at WRE. Do it if you have a new system or a system that many of your participants, or even a handful, are not used to it. It's making the event more fair for everyone. And of course, you must use an approved electronic punching system, and that's listed in the appendix to the rules. But I seldom see that someone tries with a new unknown system to me. So, 23.9, in competitions with master chasing start, Finnish judges must rule on the placings. So who will be on the finish line, and how do you document their work? So we often use, in addition to a Finnish judge, as either sprint timer as an iPad app, or phones with just slow motion video recording to film the finish line in a mass start or a chasing start, to have enough evidence. At a high-level event with TV broadcast, that photo should be able to be sent to the TV producer really quickly. But that's not usually a case for WRE. Some rules also give us options. So 23.5. Again, this is SKIO. The finishing time must be measured in one of the following times, and we have then listed several options. And in addition, in mass and chasing starts, you may use tenths of a second, and that should be introduced without practicing. And but it's an important addition to, in particular, TV broadcast races with short deadlines and lots of things happening, because then we can have a result list reflecting what actually happened and not having to move runners to different placings with different seconds. But also define which of these are you going to use. And we are going to create more concrete guidelines on this for TV broadcasted events. Some rules require that routines are defined and start personnel know the rules. Like 22.9, competitors who are late for the start time must be permitted to start, and their new start time must be recorded. So there must be a process for recording the start time and communicating it to the timekeeper. Taking a photo of the sheet where you write this down, or having a WhatsApp group or similar, are two quite okay, reasonable possibilities there. Also, competitors who are late for the start time through their own fault must be timed as if they have started at their original start time. So we can make this decision afterwards, but that's why it's very important to note when people start and why they started at that time, so that the organizer can decide which is the case here. And we also have documentation in case of a complaint or even a jury case. Yeah, enough rules for now. If your organizer find that you don't have the components to do the timekeeping, you might want to hire someone. So what to build, what to buy. There are basically two models. If you don't have everything you need yourself, you can buy a service package, or you can do it yourself by either renting or borrowing equipment. But if you do a contract with others, you must define clearly who takes responsibility for the end result. So if you buy the complete service, some companies and groups can provide full service as one package. It has a cost, and the organizer needs to supply some officials and power. And you really need clear agreement and understanding of the interfaces between the provider and the organizer. Who takes responsibility for what, which equipment and services are included, and any misunderstandings here can actually destroy the competition. You can also rent equipment from providers and operate the entire thing yourself if you are sufficiently competent. But I would practice new equipment on a not as important race. If you have a high-profile event with broadcast TV, I really recommend that you hire professionals. Typically, we invest a lot in these events, and we do have a reputation risk if the broadcast is not looking good. I have 2 examples here. So in the Junior World Orienteering Championships 2015 in Rauland, the timekeeping and results was done by EQ Timing using the EMIT system. And there were 2 persons from EQ responsible and at the arena, and they also used 7 organizers to help them in various defined tasks. For the web TV and streaming, we had a team run by basically the Norwegian Orienteering Federation's experts that had done this many times. And then on a FootO world ranking event a few years ago, I did the timekeeping together with another person. We used EMITag, we had video backup, and basically that was the people involved in the timekeeping. So, over to checklists and the follow-up plan. So we do have a follow-up plan for World Orienteering Championships in Excel, and that is for a very ambitious event. Use the sections that is meaningful for your case. There is no diploma for using all the fields, and it matches our event IT requirements document. But for a world ranking event, this is probably overkill. So I created a new revised and simplified a lot list, and you can find the link here, a short list, short URL to the list. But still, use the section that is meaningful for your case, and let the organizer answer. Some of the questions might have a not applicable or no, might be okay. It is a risk assessment. But we would expect some of these questions to trigger a conversation with the organizers. So the outline of this checklist is planning, tasks before the event, during the event, and after the event. There are some general questions and roles. So we need to know key roles. Who are the persons and who are their substitutes? Any external contractors? Are responsibilities and defined? Are there any contract? And then the interfaces, backups, internet, eventor, and live results. Also, check out are there special rules or new rules that are relevant for this race. So on timekeeping, what timing systems will be used? As a primary system or as a secondary system? What is the software used? How it is detected if a system goes wrong, is not producing correct results, malfunctions, starts drifting? And how are the clocks synchronized, the start, finish, and punching units? Which punching systems will be used? Will the same system be used for all formats if this is a multi-day event? Who is responsible for programming and checking punching units before they are placed in the forest? And when is this done in advance of an event? Some of our punching units will go into sleep mode after a set time. Is the configuration that is going to be used approved by the equipment manufacturer? So we rule out any training modes or experimental things. Have you decided, or are there any requirements on what a competitor should do if an electronic punch isn't registered? And how will the controls be verified before the race? So before the event, we need to gather the entries with correct IOF IDs. And if you use the IOF eventer, that's easy. You must do appropriate seeding according to the rules, and then set up a correct start drawing, upload start lists to Eventor, and of course, after the race, upload correct result lists to Eventor. So some of these questions in an Excel sheet, we have an example here for an imaginary event that where I am the timekeeper. So what is the backup plan if I am sick? Oh, I actually have no plan for that. Then you must, as an event advisor, discuss with the organizer, is this an acceptable risk? And then we have other tasks to do. Have you tested importing the competitors from Eventor? And we have a status, yes, that's done, December 12th. When are we going to download the current VRE list? Okay, Henning will do that on January 15th, so we know when and who. We need to define the schedule of the classes. The rule for starting order. What is the start interval? How and when is the drawing going to be made? How will the drawing be approved? Which punching system will be used? How will timing be done? Which software or event administration system will be used? And how will the courses be entered into the system and when? And then will there be live results? Will we need internet access, and how is that going to be done? What are the plans for timing backup, practice, testing of equipment? Is there a need for video of the finish line or finishers? And is there a need for finish judges? And who will that be? I believe it's valuable to ask the question and also write down either the status or what we are planning to do. So, risks and mitigation. In engineering, we have heard about Murphy's Law. So any critical component must have a backup. And here are examples of critical components, like the readout station, cable connecting the readout on the PC. We've seen that destroying competitions when this cable didn't work. And also all the finish line equipment, like finish controls, photo cells, clear, check start units, a faulty start unit in a race where you use the start unit for timing. It's pretty bad. Necessary internet connectivity, and also the main timekeeper person. You also need to know what to do if an outage happens. So contingency plans are needed. When the competition is ongoing, time cannot be stopped, and there is no second chance to start over. Procedures need to be defined for the failover process. So what other components are influenced of a failure, and which interface might have to be redirected, like changing a system A to B. And also, when we have a B system that we need to use, the results must be identical to an healthy A system, which means that our backup mustn't be of poorer quality than the main system. So for some high-level events, we can appoint an IT assistant event advisor. That would be very seldom for a VRE, but in a very complicated event, or where we go to a new country with inexperienced organizers and having a high-level event, this might be a useful role. There is also some more supporting documentation. So on the IOF homepage, we have the IOF major event IT requirements, and another text on infrastructure best practices. And finally, the proven timekeeping systems in orienteering, published January last year. And we will look a little bit into that last document, the proven timekeeping. Because many organizers and event advisors wonder how to do the timekeeping. And so we wanted to assure a minimum level of quality and help organizers and event advisors evaluate and choose a timekeeping system. But also other solutions are possible, but they would require more documentation. Because sometimes there is a conflict between the event advisor and the organizer, maybe a not invented here syndrome, and so that they really want to do something in their special own way. And this is where this document should help you or give you support in making a decision. The principle of this document was that we documented the as-is. We were not changing the rules or being stricter than the rules, but we did give an interpretation or recommendations for something that could be better. And we were only listing systems that have been used recently on high-level events with documented results. The document will be revised and published when necessary. And we do plan to publish stricter requirements for events that are broadcasted on major TV stations with less options. So, an overview of the requirements from the documentation, where you see we say something about the result, timing, precision, and accuracy from the rules, how to do this start and how to do the finish systems. And for level 2, a low-profile event, so internet broadcast, but no real TV. Then we use a transponder finish, or a push button is also acceptable, or FootO cell as a typically I would use that as a B system. So if it isn't tested, it won't work. Challenge the team to do enough testing. So this is it. Tell me how the checklist works, and I'm ready to take questions.